naspendo wala marino acha nijidai wala kopendo wengine kando tupenane tufurahi hey tabia na mwenendo na vyako vitendo vingecha mitadai maji ya shingo imefika ukingo kweli haitolai baba toro baba baba
welcome to my channel. This is fitting skirt construction. So we are going to learn how to cut, and these are the materials I have. I am going to use my red material for the outer part, and this material is bridal satin. And then I decided to choose a different color for lining. That way you may be able to understand how to insert lining inside the material and neatly. Of course, that is how I do my work. So I decided to use white cotton. This is a meter and it will be more than enough for me. I decided to use white cotton for my lining, and I am going to go right away to the cutting. So I am going to make sure that I first cut for the front pattern. I will fold my material like that and get my front pattern, which is this one, and I'll cut it right away. Sometimes this is how I make sure that I economize my my cutting, that way my fabric. This is how I economize my fabric. That way I don't really use a lot of fabric, because I've already given more than enough allowances. So I'll make sure that I cut it right there. And this is my zipper that I am going to use. Front, I'll put it aside. I'll get my material and I'll cut my back pattern. I'll fold it into two like this, and I'll get my back pattern and make sure that I place it there. It's always very important to pin pin is very important, but for me, if I want to pin, I can either decide to make sure that I put something heavy onto it that way it doesn't move, and I will be able to cut. Good. I'll continue pressing that down. And then as well, I'll make sure that I'll give a knot to my dart, a small knot, and then another knot to my dart line. Beautiful. And I'll make sure that I get my dart right away, and this is it. So as well, I'll mark my centers here. I'll mark it and make sure I notch it. And that's how I create my other stuff. Again, and then I'll make sure that I pin. And this is how I'll trace my dart. And then the next one is put there. So when I get it off the fabric, I'll be able to join my dart from this end to here, and from this to there. And then I'll turn to this side, and I'm able to join my dart from this point and then from there. So that is my dart for my back. And then I'll make sure that I go on and cut on I'll cut my lining. So this is my lining. The reason why I gave a lining a different color is for you to be able to see the difference, how I'll insert lining inside. So I will as well fold my lining. I'll give it a proper folding, and this is cotton lining. It's going to really help us very much. And then when I'm doing my lining, I'll make sure that I fold this inside. I'll cut lining off. Isn't that? Yeah. And this is what I am going to do. give it a notch there and here. Again, I will make sure that I pin to get that here and that there. So here I'm going to do the back pattern. I'm going to trace my dots there and right. And a notch to make sure that I'm able to give also tracing from this point and this. So that means I have both my lining and my fabric for the back pattern. Now you can see, beautiful. So this is what I'll be getting for my fabric, and then I'll put it aside. And then as well, I'll have the lining for the front. It's all about folding. Again, I will make sure that I will fold this. Yes. I'll make sure that I'll give it a proper folding. And this is my front pattern. I'll make sure that I will fold this inside. Okay, I'll fold the hemming inside. Is that okay? And then I'll give it the cut for the lining. And this is how it's going to be. So that I'll mark and then I'll get my pin. Okay, I'll pin it right here. So that way I'll be able to get my mark behind it. Okay, and then I'll make sure that I'm able to here. Okay, so when I get this fold, I'll be able to do like this and this. Beautiful. So I'll knot and knot, and then again I'll make sure that I'll bring these notches to this and that, and that's all. And then there I can be able to put my pattern together and place them together. And that's all I have for the cutting. Thank you so much. So let's go into the joining part. Joining part. Let's start with my front pattern, and I'm going to start with my dots. I'm going to start from joining the dot right away, and this is my dot, and I'm going to go to the sewing machine and start joining it right away. And this is as well my dot, and I'm going to go to the sewing machine and start joining it right away. darts at the all sides. I'll make sure that I'll join my darts at the all sides. I'll make sure that, and as well I join my darts at this point, and then even the back I'll make sure that I join my darts. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine and join my darts right away. I'm going to start with, so I'll put my machine on. So I know where I am ending and starting. I'll bring my back on. I'll do that. I'll do both for this. Pattern for the lining is done, and then I'm going to the front back fabric. Beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do is so now I am doing ironing. Please make sure that you're able to iron your dart that way it sits properly. Go to iron. Once I've been ironed, beautiful, I'll put aside and I'll iron this back. You can raise the iron according to your desired material, light, power, the size that they may need. Ironing is always very important. My back has 2 pieces because it's going to have a zipper at the back. So that's why I have a lot of pieces. Again, I'm going to iron my dart, which is here, and then as well iron is that. Beautiful. After ironing, the next step I am going to do is to make sure that I join my lining to the fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get the middle point of this, and then I will knit. Then I'll come and I'll get the middle point of my lining, and then I'll knit. And then for the joining, I'll make sure that this is my outer part. you see. And this is my inner part, how that have been fixed well. You could definitely see. So what I am going to do is I'll also check, and this is my lining, so I'll make sure that this knit part faces this outer part. Beautiful. So this is how I am going to make them to meet. I'm going to make them to face each other, and then I'll organize the end here. I'll make sure that this meeting point, the middle line, I'll make sure that I pin, and then I'll go ahead and I pin in here, and then I'll pin right here. I'll do that to the back as well. I'll make sure that I am able to join my my fabric, and I make sure that my outer part, which is so neat, is able to meet my lining that is also neat, not with this other stuff that is we having our allowance out. So let us see. Yes, so these two are meeting, and then meeting the smooth surface. That means they are together. And for this one, I'll just aim in making sure that those ones there, they're able to meet properly, and I will pin, pin. I really don't mind about the end here. I'll do both sides, and I make sure that this as well meet. First of all, I'll make sure that these are facing at the right side, not wrong lining facing the other, no. And then I'll come and make sure that they meet, and then as well I'll make sure that I pin and I pin. So I'll go to my sewing machine and make sure that I run line, which is going to be 0.5. So I'll go to the sewing machine and make sure that I run a line at 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 at the extreme. This is what I'm going to do for the both sides. And then I'll come to the back as well. Always mark if you're not accurate with eyes. Make sure you mark. It's very important that you're able to mark this. And then I'll come to this and make sure that I organize. It's very important you arrange your pattern before you go on six. Okay. So I am done enjoying my patterns together. So the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to run a top stitch on this lining. Under stitch, sorry about that. I'm going to run under stitch. Stitch on the both sides. Good. I'm running under stitch, and please, when you're doing under stitch, whether on the neckline or on this, make sure that your seam line slips on the lining, just like this. How can you see? So this seam line is slipping on the lining, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch my line right there. So we are done with joining our lining together with the fabric, and even we did a very neat understitch. You could see there. The reason why I used a different color of the lining, that's for you to be able to know what I am doing, and that's for you able to differentiate between the lining and the fabric. Otherwise they're all plain and they could be looking alike. So please, this could be color crash. White and red, yeah. So again, I'll make sure that I'll now organize my work. I'll make sure that I pin this to make sure that the dots are meeting. So I'm bringing this to meet the dot, and I'll make sure that also here my dots are meeting well, and I'll be able to pin. So the next thing I am going to do is to give it a press ironing right away. So I'm going to start with the middle. Good. And remember the one, the allowance which I cut off will be able to give us that pulling. So when I've done this, since my front pattern is on fold, I will definitely fold it right away and make sure that I give it a proper ironing. So you could see that now my pattern was able to pull my other material inside. This will really help me so much in all that. Good. I'll put this aside, and I'll make sure that I'll get my back pattern, and I'll do the same. For the back pattern, I'll make sure that this point here, they are meeting my dot, especially I'll concentrate on my dot. Sorry about that. My dot is here. I'll make sure that as well they are meeting, and again I will pin, but most especially my slit, I'll make sure that, and then as well they are okay on the same line, and I'll give it a press. And when you don't pin, you keep moving, and you won't get the exactly effect you are looking for. So I'll make sure that I'll do this to the both sides. Alright, so I've finished ironing. After finishing ironing, now what you need to do is, and to understand your patterns, are they on the same? This is my front, and these two are my back pattern. And let's start with the front, and you need to make sure before you go on and you trim the things that you may not like, they are in the same line. And this is our hip line, and that is our center, and that is our center front and center back, and this is our center front. So what I'm going to do is I need to make sure that these are on the same length. So I'm working on my length, and it is well, and I remember I was using my length, so there we go. Now the next thing I'm going to see is I need to make sure that these edges here, they are all okay. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do a little trimming on the edges, that way everything is the same. So over here, I'm very sure that, and after trimming, I will make sure that I give my edges a notch, because that is now my length. So I will give it each side a notch. And then I'll come to the back. I'll make sure that I organize them well, and they are meeting well. Good. Maybe I can give it like this, and make sure that each one of them are meeting, and a pin here. So I'm good to go, and I can go ahead and I give a little trim on this side. allowance do not do this, but this helps me a lot with my proper stitching and finishing. And then after trimming, I'll make sure that I give it a notch, and then I go on and shape my dart here. No, good. So let's start with the back right here. I've really trimmed everything well. Now here I'm using my real allowance, whereby my hip, now here I go on and get my hip. So on my actual hip, what I use is 8.5. So I'll make sure that I see. So 8.5, if I get 1 inch off from there, and then 8.5 is right there, so this will be okay for me. Then again, that is this. So I'll make sure from here I use 7 for my waist, so this is more than enough for me. And then I'll make sure that I fold this to there and iron it. That way I can put my zipper and give it a press. That way all that part will be iron. I'll be able to get all of them. What I mean is I'll make sure that this part here has my fold inside, like 1 inch in, like this. I'll iron, and that's where my zip is going to sit. Both with the line, and then I'll come again and fold this inside and make sure that I'll give it press. Good. This helped me not to really work a lot with, and so this is where my zipper is going to sit. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll give a notch to it. Good. Then I'll give a notch to. So this is going to be my. Now I'm coming to join the back. So when I'm joining the back, I will open inside out, and I'll make sure that for the both sides I am going to stitch right here, right from my knot, and I will do like half a knot, and then we'll see what I'm going to do. From that knot, okay? Here, this is not your length. Your length is on this knot. That's why it's very important to knot. That way it guides you accordingly. And then the next thing I am going to do is we are working on our slit. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to turn this out, beautiful, and I'll bring it like this, okay, and I'll do a little pressing. I'll do this on the both sides, okay. I love ironing immediately. It really does help me a lot with my work and other details. So this is what I am going to get. Okay, you can give it understitch if you want to. Let's try out. Yes, always remember, understitch, put please the allowance on your lining. So this is what I'll get, and I am going to go on and do the same to both sides. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So this is what I am going to get, and our slit, I want them to be overlapping just like this. So now how am I going to get it like this, them to overlap and our slit to be having something like this? So the next thing I am going to do is I am going to first get my zipper, and I'm using invisible zipper. It's a blind zipper. So if you don't know how to insert, please check one of my video. It is having how to fix blind zipper. So I'm going to make sure that, and for the blind zipper, for fixing zipper on a skirt, please you need to always make sure that you are having a waist that, so our waist is going to have a waistband and a button. That's why I'm fixing a zipper first. So please you need to make sure that your zipper is at least according to your hip size. So my hip is a little bit smaller, then I'll make sure that my zipper is 9. So if the person is having a bigger hip, it can be 11 and 10. So a zipper should not be just 5 up there. So this is where my zipper is going to stop, 9 inch. But in most cases 8 is okay for the average sizes, and that's where I am going to stop my stitching. So my first stitching I'm going to do is I'm going to do lining to lining and fabric to fabric. So what I will do is I will pin at the center here. This is what I've just done on the slit. I will make sure that I pin. Good. I pin. Now I'll make sure this is what I will do to accomplish that design I want. I'll make sure that I pin this up to the where I marked. And my marking is here. This is where I am going to stop. And I'm going to make sure that I as well join the lining and stop right there. I'm going to mark for the lining and make sure this is where I am going to stop. So I am going to stitch. My stitching is going to be like this. It's a little bit tricky here, but I want you to focus and pay attention to what I am going to tell you, that what I am going to do. So what I am going to do is I am going to make sure that I'll stitch this 1 inch. I come in, yes, and reach up to my this side, okay. Still it will be 1 inch. Now when I reach here, I'll make sure that I give it that, I'll give it a very nice, so I said it's important that you pin here. So when I reach here, that I'll give it half an inch down here. I give it half an inch and I come to the lining, half an inch, and I go on. I am marking, I hope you can be able to see, and continue with it up to there. So watch me stitch. So that I have so this is what I have just done to my stitching. So please check what I have done, and you need to make sure that now here you are going to notch to that corner, okay, and then you notch, because if you're not going to notch, it will not bring you that at all. Notched, and I can go on and even iron, and I can go on and turn my slit as well. So when I turn my slit, I'll be able to get a very neat work that is coming up like this, and I need to make sure that how I want my slit to sit depends on me. So all I did is to make sure that my slit is able to sit well, and these edges here are sitting as well, and I'll give it a little press. Beautiful. So you need to make sure that that edge is sitting well, good. And this is as well sitting well. The next thing you're going to do is you will just go on and run a stitch on top like this. Okay, so let us see how it will come. I really don't like unwanted stitches. I remove them immediately. So that is how far I'm able to go on with my work, and always please make sure you iron. So this is where I'm going to insert my zipper, and just check how I'm going to insert my zipper. So I'm going to start from here, and I'll be able to zip down and fix this one following this line. So you could see that I'm fixing line fabric alone and lining alone. Please make sure you check on my other how to insert invisible zipper, that way you won't get lost in the middle of all this. So I first need to make sure that before I fixing the other side, this is okay, good. I think this is okay. I can go on and fix the other side. So for me to fix the other side, all I need is to make sure that I put like this, and I'm able to change to the other side. This other side is a little bit tricky for me. I have no choice but to make sure that I'm able to. So this is going to be a new one. Okay, so after you have finished inserting your zipper, and your zipper is slipping well, and you have given it a press somehow, now make sure that your zipper is slipping well. You need to make sure that you're able to zip. Okay, exactly. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to give now you'll attach your lining to your zipper. So attaching a lining is more easier, and first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're able to cut. If you're using a longer zipper, please cut and give it a lock. So the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that I am going to join my lining to my zipper or to the fabric. So this is what I am going to do. if you are not understanding this, you need to make sure that you're able to pin. That way it gives you a lot more easier work. You're able to pin. Let's see. That one goes to this side. So if I'm to zip it, then I'll be remaining with that. So if I'm to take it like this, so that means this is what I'll be going with. And I'm going to start stitching it right away. Okay, so this is a little piece of stuff I'm able to get, and I can see that it's able to come. So what I'm going to do is also give it a little ironing, and then make sure that I'll be able to zip. So when I zip up, and I'll make sure that the zipper down is able to have, and this is how my every kind of stuff will be able to come. Can you see that? Exactly. So I'll organize and make sure that these ends are meeting well. In case of anything, I can be able to give it a little trim, that way they be in the same level.